Wow. Welcome back, everybody. We are IGN, live at E3 2016, and that was Bethesda. They know how to do a press conference.
They do.
I'm Max, Lucy, Steve, Jared. Jared, you're a good friend of mine, and I feel like it would be a major disservice if I immediately just didn't give you the floor to talk about Quake.
Quake! Yeah, that was amazing. I could not believe it. I really didn't expect that at all. I didn't think it was possible that was going to happen. I was fooling around there at the end just dreaming, and then they dropped the thing I want more than anything else at the first moment, and it showed me what I wanted to see. It's a Quake 3 Arena inspired, pure multiplayer game, designed for PC, mouse keyboard controls. No offense to the good controller, controller using people of the planet.
They're called.
Yeah, but no, this is wonderful. It's a brave step for them. It's a smart step for them. We didn't see a lot. We're going to see more in August. But after the wonderful first-person experiences we've already gotten from them, can we just talk about this the rest of the night? I'm really not interested in other games.
We might have to come to some other topics. But
what I want to talk about is you did a little dance. When it was announced. You were like crazy about this.
Yeah, I was really, really happy. Well, every now and then, the universe gives you exactly what you want. It doesn't happen often, but it is proof that there is a God and he does love us.
Yeah.
And that's what Quake is.
A few months ago, that God gave us a game about fighting Satan on Mars,
which
you were also excited about.
Oh, exactly.
How do you feel about its new direction as kind of like a hero shooter?
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on.
I think that we didn't see enough to know what that's going to mean yet, but yeah, sure, why not? I mean, the character designs were very Quake 3 Arena inspired. You could see that. They were very modernized, and it was dark. You could not see a lot, but yeah, sure, hero shooter, that works fine for me. I would prefer that to a leveling system. I like pure shooters where it's skill versus skill. And so if I have a character who has certain abilities and those abilities are fixed, I'm fine with that. I would prefer that much more over unlocking abilities as you level up, because otherwise you're playing against people who are already better than you and have more advanced player loadouts or special abilities. I don't enjoy that. I want it to be pure, and I trust them to make something pure. You don't make a Quake game and then screw it up. Not after making these other wonderful. Woo!
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Yeah. I was intrigued also by, they said they wanted to make it a competitive shooter. They want to make it an esports platform, but for players of all levels. And I remember back in the Quake 3 Arena days, there was a wide gulf between the best and worst players.
I was talking to Kevin Naki recently, and he was talking about how he just wants a pure, he's IGN's esports specialist, and he's talking about how he wants a pure arena shooter. I think there's a really good chance he's going to get what he wants.
Yeah, also
now,
unlock frame rates.
Before we move to the next topic, what are the odds this is going to be free to play? Because 20 years ago, that wasn't really a thing.
I don't know. I don't know about how you make money in video games. I think I'd say no. I don't think you have to do it that way. I think that's been proven recently.
Okay.
I think no. Give me the product. Let me play it, and then just dangle DLC out there every now and then, and I'll be fine. They're going to make plenty of money that way.
All right. So moving on, Prey. I almost said Prey 2, but it's not Prey 2. It's just Prey.
Yeah, rebranded.
Pray tell me about Prey.
Okay, so this is a totally fresh new thing. This is nothing like what we saw 5 years ago. What do we make of it?
I think it's really cool that they're rebranding it as Prey. I mean, it's kind of, it's a little bit PR buzzy, but at the same time, they're getting out of the shadow of the big mess that was Prey 2. So I really like it that they've kind of gone back and simplified it, and now it's Prey. I thought that the trailer was really intriguing. I loved that whole Groundhog Day shtick that they did. I thought that was amazing. And also I love it that they did say, and we speculated this, that they were bringing some of those Dishonored sensibilities to the gameplay. It also looks spooky. I liked that, like the shadow monsters thing. I don't know what that was about, but it was scary.
It was that System Shock rumor, It's kind of, ooh, haunted space.
It's a little bit reminiscent of that XCOM first-person shooter that later became the Bureau with the kind of the particle people. Also, total 2001 Space Odyssey vibe with the kind of
suits
reticle.
And everything.
I'm tentatively excited because Arcane makes good games, but I'm less interested in the kind of the steampunk world of Dishonored as I am with space stuff.
Yeah.
So
what I was encouraged by is I actually didn't recognize what it was till the logo came up.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what are they showing us, and I got the Groundhog Day stuff, and I was intrigued by that. And then it took me a while to figure out, this is actually the rebrand of Prey, which I think has been, it's been just so gone. It's been gone for so long. It makes sense for them just to call it Prey.
Yeah.
And you don't have to deal with people wondering, can I play this if I didn't play the first one? So just start over with this franchise. I think it was the right move.
A well put together trailer that showed us intriguing things without giving it all away. It was just the right way to introduce this product to us.
It's also interesting because like in the first Prey, it was very much like you were hunted, and it looked like the Prey 2 that Human Head was working on was going to be more about becoming a hunter.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's kind of returning back to that, which is almost I feel like it's kind of. Obviously, it's a major leap forward. It's not necessarily connected, but in the same way that like Far Cry is like sort of same world, same theme, but it's obviously each game is a different game.
Right.
Now, one thing that I insist we talk about it is the good old Skyrim is back.
Yeah.
To celebrate its 5th anniversary.
Yeah.
We are going to get glued to that again.
That was real pretty.
It was
Right.
gorgeous. I actually had to write down on my hand my favorite buzzword from that reveal trailer, which was volumetric god rays. What is that? Is that the hot new video game feature of 2016? Because I really hope it is.
It's going to be in every trailer now. You're not going to be able to get away from it.
Yeah, that's it.
I was ignoring the words. I was too busy just looking over these beautiful, just kind of ranging between sepia and pastel landscapes. They kept switching back and forth between. Honestly, a couple of shots, I got kind of a Witcher 3 vibe. I think Witcher 3 does the outdoors better than most video games, and there were places here where I saw some of that. But then I was seeing things that were familiar to me, but were so much more gorgeous that I couldn't stand it. They got me right there. I mean, I'm buying this.
Yeah. And one thing that's really fascinating is they're going to have mod support on consoles.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of what
PC gamers.
it's a big part of what made the game look so good in the first place on the PC, right?
Right.
All the visual mods that people added to it. So it's great to see those coming on board. And it looks like the system for navigating them and rating them was super straightforward, just as it needs to be on the consoles.
But now I'm going to be able to sit with my controller on my couch with my PlayStation, and Randy the Macho Man Savage Dragons are going to be flying through my world.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting with legality and copyright stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Then, of course, there's news of some VR stuff that they're doing, which is sort of curious because,
That was completely unexpected.
Yeah.
I did not I don't think any of us were like, yeah, they're going into VR. And I love it. I think it's a perfect. These worlds are perfect for VR.
Yeah, I wonder if that reflects poorly on our predicative powers. Honestly, the video game universe specialists in big open areas are working with VR. Who'd have thunk it? And yet it caught me completely by surprise. It makes so much sense. It's a great marriage. How this comes out, I don't know, but I don't think they'd showed it on stage today if it wasn't ready to just blow our socks off.
Well, they did show it at E3 a few years ago, and it didn't.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I saw that Doom demo that they referenced in the press conference, and it was a little bit underwhelming, quite frankly. That said, the experiences that I've had on VR this year have been like leaps and bounds ahead of where we were a few years ago. Yeah. So I'm completely convinced that it works. And what better world to do that in than Fallout, where you just, it's literally a sightseeing game half the time for me.
It's going to be very interesting to see how they're going to implement actual movement around these worlds.
Sure.
You know, like with the HTC Vive, obviously you're somewhat restricted by your space. You're in a kind of a small box, yet the world of Fallout is so huge. It's a sandbox, right? So how are they going to make that work? That's why I just can't wait to get my hands on it, because I have no idea.
What happens in your head when VATS clicks on in a VR helmet?
Well, I think you're going to be pulling up your Pip-Boy.
Yeah, you're looking down at it.
I'm guessing it's probably going to be hitting a button. What I think is fascinating about this is I interviewed Palmer Luckey ages ago when Oculus was first being rolled out, and I asked him kind of just, cheap clickbait headline, what game do you want to see on VR? And the first thing he said was Fallout 3.
Huh.
And then I interviewed him last year about Oculus, and this was right after the whole ZeniMax, John Carmack lawsuit.
Right.
Which is really sticky. So to hear them come out and be like, hey, so a while back we demoed Doom running on this certain VR software. Anyway, this is coming to different VR software. But I think it's going to be fascinating because we've seen with Vive interfaces having the controls, if you see in like Tilt Brush, being able to kind of use menus that are almost like handheld menus, and I think that'll work incredibly well with the Pip-Boy.
Absolutely.
Also, the pacing of Fallout is really good for that because it's much more like trudging. I think going to hell in Doom sounds a little bit scary because that's an incredibly fast game, and I would probably cry and throw up doing that. But yeah, Fallout seems much more interesting. We also we got to look at some new Fallout DLC. There's Contraptions coming out. That's next week.
Yeah, all these weird Rube Goldberg devices and like sorting conveyor belts. It's crazy.
I was very surprised by that. I really didn't think they'd go that direction, but judging from the audience response, it's going to go over pretty well, I think. We've got Contraptions. It's fun to build things in Fallout, but the fact that they've given us more tools, how people are going to... I think this might be about creating videos to to show things off?
Right.
Or are you just fooling around and seeing what you can get to work?
Well, I don't know. They also said you could build your own vault, which I think is now bringing the gameplay that they sort of pioneered in Fallout Shelter and putting it in the 3D space with all the sort of, settlement building mechanics that they've got in that game already. Now you make your own vault, you experiment with people. I love that idea.
The one-year anniversary of Fallout Shelter, and we're getting a remaster already.
This time in 3D.
That very last shot from the trailer is meant to be evocative of Fallout Shelter.
Yeah.
You're suddenly like, oh, wait a minute, I'm looking in from the outside. And yes, the idea that they can sit there and, puny humans. That should be fun.
And of course, we're also getting Nuka World.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
it's cool.
So we made some predictions.
Yeah.
I think we
love
were
that
kind of half
we
right
were
about that.
kind of half right about it. I mean, yes, I didn't get the sort of horror-tinged amusement park that I wanted, but at the same time, I still got an amusement park, and I'm really happy about that. And I loved the addition. I mean, we didn't see much, but I love the addition of the little Nuka World mascot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
you're
thought that was
great.
so great.
You're saying we're not getting a horror game. I think that thing was freaking terrifying.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
No, this is neat. And again, it's a good tease. What does this mean? Are we going to
Right.
get to build in the park? Is there a mystery in the park? Who knows?
Yeah, and it says your wasteland vacation, so I wonder if they broaden the scope of what it means at Nuka World, right? Like, are there also other attractions that you wouldn't normally find at a vacation or amusement park, but you would find at some sort of other vacation
I
destination?
wonder about that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the
could
real
buy
big,
fudge.
the big exciting thing is Dishonored 2, which was kind of the bulk of that conference.
Yeah, save the best for last, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really impressive. You're playing as one of two characters. It's Corvo or Emily.
Right.
A lot of new powers. They both have different ones. What's the city called?
Kanaka.
Karnaka.
Yeah.
Karnaka.
So you
like
start in Dunwall,
Karnaka.
but you go to Karnaka, which is in the south. It's
Yeah.
kind of different culturally.
Yeah, so you do actually see Dunwall 15 years later at the
Right.
very beginning of the game, and then you move to Karnaka, which is a much brighter, sort of more, southern tinged city. Whereas Dunwall was very dark and kind of like moody and gothic and all that sort of thing. Karnaka's a lot lighter and a lot more spacious, and they're playing with verticality a lot.
Yeah.
It's really exciting, and it looks gorgeous.
And how about groovy, like time-slipping stealth devices? You're like, I'm going to peek through my little portal from one place so that I can plan my move in another. That was rad. It's got this wonderful, like, first-person link to the past stealth fusion thing going on. That's really neat.
Now,
And
Lucy, you got to check this out, right?
I did,
you
yeah.
go hands-on with it?
No, I didn't go
No,
hands-on.
okay.
I did what I saw, that sort of the bulk of that demo when you're playing as Emily, that's what I saw in Lyon. And again, I was so blown away at this a second time by Domino, which is that power where you sort of link the enemies together and they share the same fate.
Yeah.
And I just love that. And the sort of endless possibilities for screwing around with that is amazing. I mean, one of the ones that are one of the sort of scenarios that Harvey talked about in Lyon was Emily's also got this power where she can sort of bring out a clone of herself, right? Okay. And what you can do is you can domino her clone to the enemies, kill her clone, and then they all drop. It sounds kind of overpowered, to be honest.
And a little perverse, let's be honest.
And a little perverse,
right?
but at the same time, just incredible.
Sometimes overpowered is fun. I mean, video games function well as a power fantasy. And yes, you want to be challenged, but sometimes it's just enjoyable to be the coolest person in the room. And that's what it looks like Emily's going to be.
The thing that I liked, apart from the visual style, which I think is just stunning, is in that Overseers versus Howler meeting, when the character steps out and sees the vista, and you realize, I can get up there, I can be on the roof. Like, there's all these different points that you can be in that are interesting, that are just like pregnant with all these amazing tactical possibilities.
So one thing is, the last Dishonored was locked within the confines of last gen. And it was also running on Unreal 3, I think. And this one, they've got their new engine, they're on new consoles. Do we think this is going to be like open world, or is it?
I don't think it's going to be open worlds, but the Void engine, from what I understand, was basically created to support their very, very ambitious art style. So it's going to be a lot better looking. I still think it's going to be relatively confined. But I think you're going to be able to explore more.
Maybe multiple path structured levels with a lot of interweaving corridors, things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and I think, and also what they're doing is that they're sort of exploring different themes within each level. So that strange, like, link between worlds time thing
Yeah.
that we saw in that demo. I think that's probably just one level. Like that is
Right.
a thematic thing that's only going to happen once. But I love that because it's
Yeah.
going to mean that every single level or whatever you want to call it, chapter,
Yeah.
is going to be really different.
Well, and there's even the additive variety of being able to play as two different characters and like
Exactly.
taking their powers into each
It's
level.
definitely a game meant to be replayed. And I think it's, it's open world sounds all very well and good, but you get too big and it kind of obscures the level design. And Arcane definitely seems to know what they're doing on that front. Before we go, one last thing. We got Doom DLC coming up. Jared, you're the big Doom guy, yeah?
I really love Doom. Yeah.
So they're adding a new deathmatch?
Yeah,
What's
what
going
they're
on
doing
here?
is what I saw there is they're tweaking the multiplayer, and that's needed to happen for a while. And they're introducing the ability to. They're just adding new modes to it to make it. It needed some rebalancing. It needed some expansion. I think this is more of a tweak than anything else. What I saw there.
Yeah, there's more CTF content.
Exactly.
There's capture and hold now.
Yeah, it's
absolutely
not
needed.
huge news, but it's welcome news because Doom's multiplayer has suffered from some troubles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I muttered to Ryan McCaffrey, deathmatch is a complicated thing. It's very tricky. You got two people and they're trying to kill each other. That's hard. I don't know how that
It's hard
works.
to do in video games.
Yeah. On that note, we've got plenty more E3 coming up. We've got a big, busy day tomorrow, so you should tune in for that. But thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing lovely opinions about that fantastic press conference.
Thanks, Max.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You okay, Jared? You gonna
Yeah,
be?
I really was kind of shaking for a while
Yeah.
earlier.
We did skip over my favorite part though, which is that lady's reaction
Yes.
to all
Oh.
the Elder Scrolls Online
Yeah.
content.
That I have never.
That's part of the press conference
I have
for me.
never heard a more enthusiastic audience member in my life for
I want
anything.
to meet her.
I want to meet her too.
Yeah, I would call that an elephant in the room, but I think it was more of like a howler monkey, something along those lines.
It's very flattering.
You guys stay right where you are. We've got more coming. Maybe go to bed because I think we're maybe shutting down for the night. But keep it right here on IGN tomorrow. The rest of the week, E3's crazy. I love you all. Take it easy.
I love you too, Max.